Welcome to Transform Now, the podcast brought to you by robotic process automation pioneer Blue Prism. Digital transformation has the potential to reshape the way companies service their customers, engage their employees, and manage their operations. Whether you're looking to develop strategies, tactics, and best practices to positively impact the future of work, or you're curious to learn how other companies have successfully navigated their digital transformation programs, then this podcast is for you. We're here to help you transform now.
Hello, everyone. This is your host, Michael Marchuk, and today on the Transform Now podcast, we have a very special guest, Rob Telson from BrainChip. Welcome, Rob.
Well, Michael, thank you for having me. I look forward to speaking with you today.
Me too. So I have to ask, your company doesn't produce chips that are implanted in people's brains, right?
We do not implant chips in people's brains, and I hope we get to a point in society that we are not doing that.
Well, Rob, I agree with you there, but tell us a little bit more about yourself and what BrainChip actually does.
Yeah, so I'm still laughing at the fact that we talked about implanting chips in brains and so on. No, we don't do that. Again, my name's Rob Telson. I'm the Vice President of Worldwide Sales and Marketing at BrainChip, and we have developed an AI processor that's architected to function and mimic the same way that our brain operates. And so what that means is right now, the way the human brain functions is you're listening to what I'm saying. You have the ability to look at me as well. Your fingers are resting on something. And you might have coffee in the background and you can smell coffee. So your brain can process multiple functions at one time. And that's very much similar to how our AI processor is. So although you can smell, you can feel where your hands are resting, all of your energy right now, your brain is functioning, is in listening. For every word that I'm saying, there's maybe a nugget of information that's going to be, really important. And so the way that traditional AI processors work as of today is that they process all the information that's thrown at them with the same energy. And when they do that, they consume a lot of energy. And so what BrainChip did is they've developed this processor. It's architected what we call neuromorphic computing, which is different than how current architectures are. And it enables the device to focus on multiple functions, but know to spend its energy on what is important to spend its energy on. So it's consuming up to 90% less power or energy than traditional processors. And by doing that, that enables us to look at devices of today and of the future, specifically what we call edge-based devices or IoT devices. So we would know that as wearables or watches or phones, or vehicles are also electric vehicles are also edge-based devices, where you can now do all this compute on the device without burning up your battery or your power and without having to communicate back to the cloud. So it gives us a lot of freedom and functionality and customization for current and future devices that we'll see across a wide spectrum. So we're evolving at a very rapid rate and having a lot of fun with our technology and seeing a lot of success.
I can imagine. So you mentioned transitioning AI to the edge. Why is it important to have AI at the edge rather than simply just improve the data center versions or the cloud implementations of AI?
Yeah, that is a great question. And, what you got to realize about AI, there is so much information out there and there's so many different approaches on how you can address artificial intelligence. The intention, though, is to try to process information to be more accurate towards whatever the target is that we're focused on at the time, or the target application. So you think of AI on the data center or the cloud, it's a beast. It's just the processor itself consumes a ton of power. It doesn't have any constraints in the environment it's working in, because the data centers are so large. So it's got the freedom to behave any way it wants, basically, but they're really beasts for power consumption. The edge is basically all these devices that are trying to process information and be as far away from the cloud or the data center as possible. And as I mentioned earlier, I use watches or phones or some type of consumer product because we understand that we can actually visualize that as an edge-based device. But edge-based devices are also robotic systems within pick lines or warehouses or industrial applications, medical devices within our home, all the different smart applications that we'll have, from coffee makers to thermostats or refrigerators, and detecting what's rotten inside or how much lifespan's left on your perishables. And all these things kind of exist today, but they're evolving at a very dramatic rate. So everything is moving to more device personalization and processing data and information on these devices away from the data center in the cloud. So they look at the edge-based inference market alone as a $46 billion market today, and it's growing at a dramatic rate. So what BrainChip has done with our Akida neuromorphic processors is we've developed the ability for this small processor to process all of this information. We focus on 5 different senses. In AI today, everyone thinks about audio, very similar to if you're talking to your phone and your Apple phones, for example, you say, "Hey, Siri," and Siri will look for whatever you want it to look for, but it's going to the cloud to get the information and then respond back to you. Or a home device like an Alexa, where you say, "Hey, Alexa," it's going to the cloud to get the information and provide the answer back to you. And that's audio, all the way to vision, camera technology, or something to that extent where it can recognize humans, recognize an individual. Maybe it can recognize human behavior, whether they're doing something that's appropriate or not, or also vehicles and signs and so on. But there's also a bunch of other sensor modalities, such as smell, recognizing gases, recognizing odors of food, whether it's rotten or not, or vibration for machines that maybe something's not working properly. Or if you look at a city infrastructure, such as bridges, you can put some devices there to see if the bridges are behaving correctly. And then the last one is gustatory, or taste, being able to recognize different tastes and so on. And all of these different modalities are going to come into play in our daily lives as AI continues to evolve, especially at the edge.
So there's obviously a lot of data that could be coming from these edge devices, as we've seen from traditional AI machine learning. If you're going to be looking at documents or invoices, you'll tend to have to feed it hundreds or thousands of these documents just for it to understand certain aspects of how the document works. But BrainChip has the concept of one-shot training, and I've seen some of the videos for it for doing image detection, which is super impressive. But how can one-shot training help organizations who aren't using that type of visual data? Can it be used for forms and paper invoice and whatnot?
Absolutely. Because when you think about it, you're just capturing something. And so in this particular case, if we were talking about documents or discrepancies between documents, something to that extent, our processor, Akida, has the capability of recognizing what is consistent and what's not consistent, or what is accurate and what's not accurate. If you go to our YouTube channel, where we have all of our collateral, it's at BrainChip Inc., we have some demonstrations that actually highlight where we're dropping in different images on paper, and it can determine whether the image is a lion, a tiger, an elephant, and then we'll add an image right there. We'll capture that image on paper again, like a giraffe, and it can recognize the differences. So you just evolve that into a workspace or an office environment. Absolutely, Akida has the capabilities of really enabling productivity or providing another layer of security, depending on how you want to use the device.
So that's interesting. Within the IoT side of things, with self-driving cars and such, there's a lot of disconnection from the cloud or the internet. But within a corporate environment with corporate applications, how can edge-based AI decisions help these corporate applications, which are typically connected all the time?
In my mind, when I think about edge-based applications and the technologies that exist today, it's really endless. One of the things we've been really fortunate about at BrainChip is we've had discussions all over the spectrum in regards to different types of problems that companies want to solve. And when I think of the corporate environment and I think of IoT-based applications to help us in our everyday world, I think of this, and I'm going to start from the top and move all the way to the bottom. Let's start with in an environment itself. If you're in a workspace environment and you want to recognize who the members are that are in the office, you have facial identification devices that could provide you that solution right now. But let's say I join that company where I'm going to be a temporary member within that group. In order to add me to that same facial recognition type of solution, it's extremely complex to do that on the device. It costs a lot of money to have data scientists and machine learning experts change the data sets that were initially incorporated. But with Akida, and we talked about one-shot training, I capture the image of my face. Now I'm part of that network or that data set, as long as I am now part of that organization. And if we take it one step further, let's say we had some type of device on a wall that we wanted to recognize different gases or even viruses. As long as you put the data set together, you can use this device to make those decisions and make those decisions without having to go to the cloud and process it. So you're doing it in real time. So I've just talked about the workplace. Now let's think about it where if we had applications that Akida could recognize voices, which we do, this device could technically recognize, hey, this is Rob Telson speaking. And because it's Rob Telson speaking, his mic settings need to be set X, Y, and Z because he talks really, really loud or really, really soft. I think more loud than soft, actually. But it gives you a lot of flexibility and personalization. And you put that in a broader group. And let's say we were all not showing our screens, for example. So I didn't know I was talking to Michael Marchuk. And Michael really didn't know if he was talking to Rob Telson. You would have devices that we basically could say, that's Michael, that's Rob, and so on. And again, in a corporate work environment, would be able to apply some intelligence to that and take that one step further. And then you can look back to what we just talked about before when we were talking about documents and all the way down to working environments within the functional environments of what you work with on a daily basis. So the opportunities are endless in regards to what you can do with AI in general. And then specifically in regards to BrainChip's and Akida, they're even more endless because of the on-device customization and personalization that you can do. And the fact that it's ultra low power, which means it's really not going to upset the ecosystem of the edge-based device it's working with.
I see. So do you see these edge-based AI devices evolving to support automation as it relates to customer interactions or automating decision processing for traditional back office tasks like, say, optimizing inventory orders, anticipating machine or system failures, identifying computer threats, spotting fraudulent activity, all those back office type of things, which are happening all the time with the environment, but may not have direct AI application at the moment because they're not engaged to do that. How do you see edge-based AI supporting that kind of automation for the custom interactions or our back-end environments?
Everything that you've talked about, Michael, will be addressed with some type of intelligence in the future. You know, you can never replace human behavior. You can provide an assistance to that and provide a level of accuracy. But I want to make that clear. There is a human element that I strongly feel you can't replace. I mean, when it comes to back office activities and providing some type of humanism, I guess maybe that's the word I'd use. You can't pull the human element out of it, but you can do a lot of the compute functions that we need done with a level of accuracy, a level of efficiency, and then enable the human element to make final decisions. Someone asked me, do you think that you could replace sales people with AI engines and have a same level of accuracy in doing business. And I said, people buy off emotions, people work off emotions, and so on. So I feel pretty strongly that there is a fine line here. You can do a lot of compute to enable, but at the end of the day, you won't replace the human element within all of these environments.
So, Rob, how do you see edge-based AI evolving from these endless possibilities to a more short to midterm view of what's realistically possible? I mean, if you look out another 2 years or so, where do you see this edge-based AI being most applicable?
Great question. Most technology that exists, and it's all really good AI technology, from small firms to the largest of organizations that have developed AI solutions. Everyone's paving the way to what will be just common in the future in regards to this technology. Most everyone today is focused on voice and vision. So, for example, I'm going to our YouTube channel and looking at some of our collateral. We're demonstrating the functionality of recognizing when an individual is in a vehicle, who that individual is by facial recognition, and also by voice. And there's software out there that probably can address some of the same solutions that we're doing on our device. The difference is we're doing multiple functions on one chip. And the second component of that is we're doing it extreme ultra low power. So when you look at power consumption and you look at the evolution of edge devices, again, power will be an issue. The ability to consume extreme low power and do that without going to the cloud to send the data back and forth that's the winner right there. And that's why BrainChip's really excited about what we've developed with Akita and where our roadmap is taking us. When I think about specific applications, I think right now, camera technology, voice technology, the integration of both of those functionalities are in the short term. I know you can apply that technology anywhere from small devices, handheld devices, through vehicles and next generation of transportation. Maybe we'll call them driverless vehicles, where you sit in the vehicle and it recognizes you by voice or by face, and then it just bills you directly. And I think we're going to see a lot of that happen a lot faster than we could have imagined. When I look at the most practical applications, the most efficient applications for society, I try to focus everything on beneficial AI. And that goes down to medicine and how do we make the world a better place? So I think there's a lot of medical devices out there that need edge-based AI solutions that don't consume a lot of power, but have functionality and flexibility to really start to mature so we can integrate them into medical device applications. And I think we're in that wave right now, this first wave of maturation of these devices. I think about portable medicine, remote devices that can help you do detection and help you make some decisions with a good level of accuracy. Virus detection, we're in COVID, right? So we've worked with a couple of different firms in regards to their COVID technology and using Akita as the engine to help provide a level of accuracy. And in both our scenarios we've been involved in, we've seen accuracy levels well above 95%. These are the things that I think will be impactful in the future. So there's those aspects that will change our everyday lives. We'll start to incorporate those sooner than later. So when I look at the short term and I look at the long term, that's what I see. I think the most impactful of everything I've talked about will be whoever can incorporate vibration analysis and vibration technology. Those will be the real world solutions. Predictive maintenance for cars and other vehicles, infrastructure, and big machines predicting when they need service through vibration aspects, I think will be huge. So I see a lot of possibilities, but I've tried to break it down into real world applications for us as I'm talking to you here.
I certainly appreciate that AI technologies that are helping with decision processes related to maintenance of machinery using vibration analysis or health applications using wearables will impact certain industries. But when you're thinking about executives from, say, an insurance company or a bank or perhaps a large retail organization, Where do you see the application of AI within those type of environments for them? How would BrainChip be applied in those types of organizations?
That's a great question, and I'm kind of smiling because it really fits into one of the areas where we do think there's going to be a lot of growth in the near future, and that's cybersecurity. And I think from the banking industry, the insurance industry, and even in the retail industry, being able to have applications and devices that protect those businesses, protect their collateral, and the way that they function is going to be really important. And with these types of devices, whether they be powered by Akita or other solutions, there are these applications which will help in these industries and these companies of the future as they grow to protect themselves and protect their IP or their collateral.
I see. Well, thanks for that perspective. So, Rob, thank you so much for joining us today. I'm really excited to see how AI at the edge could really transform how organizations process all this data coming through to make actual decisions as they're running their businesses and managing their outcomes.
Yeah, Michael, thank you very much for having me. And for those that are interested in learning more about BrainChip, go to our website at www.brainchip.com and our YouTube channel. We have all of our collateral there, all of our podcasts and demonstration videos. If you have any specific questions, contact us at sales@brainchip.com. Thank you very much for having me.
Thanks for tuning in to Transform Now. For more insightful discussions on digital transformation and more, check out our podcast channel where you'll find all of our previous episodes. To make sure you never miss an episode, subscribe to the show on your favorite podcast player. And if you like what you heard, please leave us a review. For more information about digital transformation and the future of work, check out blueprism.com to learn how Blue Prism's digital workforce is enabling enterprise transformation now.